everyone, welcome back. I'm Lynn. Midsummer can be brutal on our lawns and our plants. And if you're walking around your garden right now and things are looking kind of rough, you're not alone. I'm seeing some of the same things, but despite the fact that it's August, there are some things that we should be doing in our gardens. And so I have a lot of those things to go over today. One specifically is dealing with pest pressures. I'm going to go over that, how to diagnose and treat. We will also be going over lawn care, just a simple little thing that if you have not made this adjustment, you may want to. A lot of people actually get it backwards, so I'm going to go over that too. I will also talk about cutting back herbaceous perennials, specifically salvia right now, so you can get your gorgeous fall blooms. And then finally, I have an excellent, incredibly inexpensive DIY project to share with you to reduce the mosquito populations in your yard. So let's just get right into this. So one of the things you may be seeing right now is your boxwood and other plants might be looking differently, and that is because they may have spider mite damage. And if you look at this close up, you'll see the leaves, they have this speckling on them, and that is spider mite damage, y'all. And so boxwood and a lot of different plants right now, I have spider mite damage on some salvia and boxwood. It is very common because spider mites love it when it's hot and dry. Right now we are about 103, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity here is in the 20s. So that is the perfect environment for spider mites. Now, if you're not sure as to what you're actually seeing, one easy way to determine if you have spider mites is to get just a plain sheet of white paper and take your plant, shake it on the paper, wait about 10 to 20 seconds, and if you'll notice, you'll see something moving on the paper. Well, that's your test for spider mites. Now, in terms of treating spider mites, my first go-to is just to get a hose and do a strong spray of water to try and knock the spider mites off. But I must admit, by the time I see the spider mite damage, that usually doesn't get it. I'm going to show you the two products that I use, not only to deal with spider mites, but of the Crape myrtles that we grow in this yard, there is one that always gets defoliated throughout the summer. My muskokies are healthy just fine. My natches are absolutely gorgeous. My catawbas are fine. But the Hopi, that one every summer right about now, it gets aphids and it gets spider mites, and it just completely defoliates. It's like it's looking gorgeous in May and June, and then somewhere around the end of July, August, it starts getting the sticky residue that is left behind by aphids, and then it gets infested with spider mites. And you've probably heard me in previous videos talk about being on the fence regarding replacing that one. During the summer, I tell you, that's when I really would probably pull it out. But let me go ahead and show you the two products I use to treat both the spider mites and the aphids. Start with the hose on jet to really try and knock the spider mites off. But right now, I think not all of these boxwood, but many of them, like this one, for example, if you look at the bottom, it's got too much damage on it. I don't think that this is going to do much. So, something like Captain Jack's insecticidal super soap by Bonide. This is a contact spray that you can use on boxwood. I can use it in the Crape myrtle. The key is, y'all, it usually will not, when there's a pretty good infestation, it's not going to get rid of it all at once. So you're probably going to have to go back and spray like every week or so. You always want to read the instructions though. Now this one is already pre-mixed. I also buy the concentrated and I put it in my sprayer because I do have a lot of boxwood and I have them in other parts of the yard. So this is kind of what I buy just to spot treat something. When I spray these, I'm going to have to actually go and buy my concentrated spray. When I looked in my little storage container on the back patio, I didn't see it, so I'm guessing it's in the garage somewhere. But I mix up the concentrate. And one little tip with the concentrate, put the water in your sprayer first and then put your concentrated, whatever you're going to use, put that in second and then just stir it around, because if you put the product in first and then add the water, it often bubbles up and you're waiting for it to die down, and it takes time before all the bubbles die down, so you can make sure you get the water up to the 1 gallon. So put the water in first. This is my first course of action. It is insecticidal soap. Something that I also like to use, and I'll link all of these products below, but the Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew, it comes in a sprayer and a concentrate. It even comes with, I saw recently, they have it already pre-made and it has an automatic sprayer on it. It's a little more expensive, but I'll link all of those products below. However, if that does not, using the insecticidal soap and then alternating and using something like the Captain Jack's, if that doesn't work, you may have to get a miticide. So something specifically for spider mites. And I will link the product that I've had to use in the past down below. Okay, so moving on from dealing with the bugs, the next thing I want to talk about is the lawn. So Texas A&M recommends increasing your mowing height. This is going to decrease stress from drought, help reduce weeds and things like that. If you have more formal lawn like Bermuda or Zoysia, you want to keep it at 1.5 to 2 inches. However, if you have St. Augustine or buffalo grass, those types, you want to keep at 2.5 to about 3.5 inches in height. Okay, so moving on to your herbaceous perennials, and one that's really popular here in Central Texas is the Mystic Spire salvia, and I'm going to show you what you should be doing to that one, and then we're going to do the project. Okay, and so for perennials like this Mystic Spire salvia, you want to go in and cut off all of these spent flowers, these stalks, and if the plant is leggy like this one over here, you'll go in and cut it down by about 1/3. So use your judgment. You want to make sure you leave some type of leafing in here when it's this hot. And that is why this one actually is not leggy like this one. So just, you have the option of just cutting off the spent flower spikes, or because that one is actually pretty decent. It's not leggy like this one. This one right here, if you see a Mystic Spire salvia leggy like this one, this is where you want to go in and you're just going to cut it back by at least 1/3. So the rest of your salvia, if you have other salvia, use your discretion. You don't want to cut it back hard the same way that you do in late winter. So what this is going to do is it's going to get these plants ready to look gorgeous for you in the fall. Here in Central Texas, mosquitoes, oh gosh, they're like the bane of warm weather. But I have a very inexpensive project that you can do that will drastically decrease the mosquito populations. You just need a 5-gallon bucket like this one, Home Depot bucket. You're going to fill it with water. Now you'll let it sit in your house somewhere for 2 days. The reason why you want to do that is you want the scent of the chlorine, you want that to dissipate. And once that has happened, then the water is going to be ready. So from there, all you have to do is go out into your yard and scoop up some leaves. Put those leaves in the water, and then we're going to grab a mosquito dunk. The mosquito dunk that you want to put in here is not the entire mosquito dunk. You only need to cut it into a quarter. The full mosquito dunk is for like a fountain or a water feature. For this, you only need 1/4. Now, if you have small children, pets, varmints in the area, you're going to want to cover this. And depending upon the varmint, you can use chicken wire, or you can use, I've seen PetSmart, they'll have something very similar to chicken wire, but it's 1/4 of an inch for the holes, so less can get into it. You're going to put this off someplace in the yard, downwind from wherever you tend to sit or do whatever it is you need to do in your garden. And after about 7 days, it is going to start to smell putrid. But what's going to happen is it's going to attract the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are going to go in, the females, lay the eggs, and the mosquito dunks take care of that. Now, if you know anything about mosquitoes, the females only live for about 2 months anyway. So the repetition of the mosquito family is dependent upon those eggs. So that female mosquito in X amount of time is going to be gone, but the eggs, that's where the legacy of the mosquito lives on. Those eggs don't get to develop into new mosquitoes in your yard. So this can cost under $15 to make. If you already have a 5-gallon bucket and chicken wire, you have water, the mosquito dunks, I'll link those below. They are like $9.98 at Home Depot. But the key is make sure you let your water sit in your house somewhere for 2 days to get rid of the chlorine smell. You're going to put leaves in that water and then put your mosquito dunk in and let it simmer for about 7 days. It's going to be really smelly, but the mosquitoes will be attracted to it. Okay, so that's what I have for you. As usual, thank you for watching this video. I sincerely appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day in your garden. Bye.